Welcome back, guys, to the Full Force Fathers podcast. We have episode number 67 today. Before I do anything else, I just want to say something. Dude, I don't know about you, but I enjoy podcasting. Like, this is fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're just doing it every week. We haven't missed a week. We don't plan to miss a week, but this shit's fun. Like, I was thinking about it earlier today. I'm like, man, I can't wait till, like, whatever time it is. 11 o'clock your time or whatever, 11 o'clock my time. Like, I just can't wait to record today because, like, I have so much fun when we're just having a conversation, you know what I mean, about whatever the topic of the week is. And I don't know about you, but I just felt that I was like, man, I fucking really love podcasting. This shit's fun. I wish, like, we could get the message out to more people, and we're trying to doing it. Obviously, we both have full-time jobs and kids and all that stuff, and we're trying to do it organically. But, man, like, we fucking love doing it. And I'm speaking for you now. Like, share the show. Come on. Like, this shit's just too much fun.
Yeah, it is a blast. I mean, if it wasn't fun, I don't think we'd be on episode 67 right now. But I'm with you. I love having the conversations. I think they're meaningful. I think they're important for people to hear. So I agree. Get out there, share the show. Tell one person about it. Tell one person about it. That's going to be one extra person that gets to listen, hear this message, and hopefully implement some of the things we're talking about to make themselves a full force father.
Listen, we're not perfect, right? Sometimes we think we're funny. Who the fuck knows if we're really funny? We laugh at each other's jokes and dumb shit. Sometimes, who knows? Maybe we're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. But one thing I will say about the show is we have a variety. Like, you're not just getting the same thing every week. Like, we're talking about different topics, serious topics, funny topics. Sometimes we're just goofballs. Sometimes, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like we it's almost like a variety show. You never know what you're going to get until you freaking tune in, you know?
It's true. Sometimes we don't know what we're going to talk about until we start going, and we start going down rabbit holes. So it's a surprise for us sometimes too.
Yeah. So really that's it. I just wanted to put that out there before we actually get into the thick of episode 67. Just say it again. I love 67 episodes, dude. 67 consecutive weeks that we have put out content. We've had Virginia, we've had Tennessee, we've had Arizona, we've had Florida, we've had Texas. I mean, we've had shows everywhere and at all sorts of times through all sorts of weather. We haven't missed a show with fucking holidays, you name it. Like, it's just the consistency is really the key.
It is. There's no doubt about it. So I echo what you said before, and I'll say it again. Share the show. Share it to one extra person, two extra people. If you love the show, get it out to as many people as you can. Give us a review on whatever platform you're listening to, and give us some comments, contribute to the show. That's what we're here for. That's why we do it.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's hop into 67. I think you're going to enjoy. The majority of our audience is going to enjoy today's show. But before we get going, tomorrow is a special day. Why don't you let us in what that special day is? Because I've already experienced this year.
Yeah, it is a special day. Tomorrow, my little girl turns 10. Double digits. Don't know how it's possible. Seems like just yesterday we were in the hospital waiting for her to be born, and now she's going to be 10. She's going into 5th grade. She's growing up far too fast. I already see the teen that she's on her way to becoming and the young woman that she's becoming, and super proud of her. Happy birthday, Kendall.
Happy birthday, Kendall. She's tough. She's fucking stubborn. She's everything that you are in a 10-year-old girl form. She gets angry. She likes to laugh. I mean, there's one too many comparisons between you and her. So happy 10th birthday to you, Kendall. Uncle Brett loves you, and I'll see you soon. So, episode 67, we got the greatest number 67. And I'm gonna a lot of times I feel like I let you take the lead on these. And there's a reason. Like, dude, you just wrote a book on number 67. So I'm going to let you start with, like, when I open up the notes, I'm like, dude, there's like 4 paragraphs on one fucking player. So go ahead, dude. Yeah. Start it off.
So this, I think, is a testament to what we do on the show, right? We don't just it's no layups on the show. Like, when you're up in those early numbers, like, it's easy. It's easy to list off number 12s, the greatest number 12s of all time, the greatest number 1s. Like, those are easy. We're down into the barrel right now. Like, we are digging in the 60s. And quite honestly, there's not a lot of these numbers that are all that famous. But what I love about doing this is I get to learn something about guys that I never really even heard of before. So that's why I wrote a book about it, because this, I think, is just a cool story. Number 67, in the NFL, the most famous. He's in the Hall of Fame. His name is Les Richter. And he played for the Rams, but not who he was drafted to. He was originally drafted to a team, the New York Yankees at the time. And within 2 days of him being drafted, the team folded and they sold all their assets back to the NFL for $100,000. Now, Richter's rights were given to the expansion Dallas Texans at the time, which is interesting. But they didn't hang on to him for long. Once they got his rights, they traded him. Now he was an All-American at USC. Or no, I'm sorry, Cal. He was an All-American at Cal. And he got traded from the Texans now to the Rams for 11 players.
Oh my God.
11 players.
11 guys?
11 guys. So he trades to the Rams. He gets traded, but he goes to the Korean War. So he doesn't even play right away. For 2 years, he goes to the war, comes out of the war, gets back into football for the Rams, who he signed with. And get this, he was a linebacker, center, and place kicker. He led the team in points for 2 seasons as a place kicker. He hit 90% of his extra points, and I think he had like 43 field goals or something in that time. He never missed a game in his 112-game career, which included playing more than half a season with a broken cheekbone. He broke it in a game and played the rest of the game.
Oh, my gosh.
So Les Richter, the only 67 in the NFL, in the Hall of Fame, and he just had a cool story. It's changed so much over the years. You look at these guys now, and you think about this guy is like thinking back to Ted Williams, right? Where like he's playing baseball, then he goes to war, then comes back, plays baseball. Like it was just a very different time. Les Richter, you have made our list for the greatest number 67 in the NFL. Now couple other sports. Oh, we got something.
Wait. Yeah, how can you be the place kicker and the center at the same time?
Well, I think
someone has to snap the ball. Did he snap the ball?
Yeah, but the center isn't the long snapper. It's the long snapper that snaps for special teams.
Yeah, but back then you think they had specified long snappers?
Yeah, maybe not.
Well, they had to, because obviously you can't be the center and the kicker at the same time.
Right. But anyway,
dude,
I thought that was cool.
That is fucking absurd. You mentioned Ted Williams. Joe DiMaggio is another one of these guys back. They went and played, pro baseball and they're the most famous for it, the baseball players. You know what I mean? And then, dude, nuts. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, where was that? I don't even know if you know this. Where was that Rams franchise at the time? Was it in St. Louis?
Los Angeles.
Lost it, so it was LA.
Yep, it was out in LA.
Wow.
Yep.
That's nuts.
Yep.
That is nutty.
Yeah, pretty good. So we got a couple other not amazing by any stretch of the imagination. There's one in the MLB that I threw on there. Brandon Workman, you might remember him. He was part of the 2018 Red Sox championship team. He pitched pretty well, especially in that postseason. He was kind of a go-to guy, late inning guy, setup guy. So he made the list. In the NHL, the name Max Pacioretty currently plays for the Carolina Panthers, but he was a captain for one of his last teams, I think, Montreal. He has 645 career points, but he's from New Canaan, Connecticut boy, playing in the NHL. So
645 points. That's what Gretzky in a season usually.
Yeah, usually maybe 2.
Half a season.
He's only 3,000 off the pace.
Oh my god.
And hey, dude, I even found what's that?
You kept racing in here. I see.
I did because I thought this was cool. Buddy Arrington, he had 481 starts for the 67 car. He was a popular race car driver for a long time. 20 years. He raced Chryslers for his entire career, and he never won a race. Actually, in all of his starts, he never won a race. He managed 15 top fives, but never got across the finish line first. But he had a long career, like I said, 20-year career and 481 starts for the 67 car.
Dude, that's such a sad stat. Imagine being 481, and I'm not sure, dude. He probably had the pole in a few of those races at some point, dude. 481 career starts and never won a race. Dude, like the law of averages, you would just have to win by default at some point. You know what I mean?
You would think so.
That's just that poor bastard. That's unbelievable. That is not a statistic I would ever want. I can tell you that.
No.
Oh wow. Anyways, well, there's your 67s. Funny, still no NBA guys in these 60s. I think we're just about done. So I'm just gonna give everyone a news flash. We're not gonna see any other NBA guys till we hit Rodman. That's it. Never gonna see anybody else.
I think you're right.
So, and we only have 33 more episodes to go before we just no longer have numbers to go through, anyways. So that's kind of crazy. So, which would be kind of like rounding the clock towards 2024 because we're only a week away from the direct halfway point of the year, I think.
Yeah, it'll be close.
Yeah, because today's
27th.
June 27th. So yeah, I think let me look it up.
26 weeks left. We'll be six numbers shy.
So it says right here, July 2nd is the true halfway point of the year. So we're only a week away from the halfway point of the year. So, anyways, Bible verse. And Bible verse today is going to coincide with the topic of today. Okay. So today's topic is supporting American companies and those who promote American values. So I was perusing through the Bible and I'm thinking to myself, man, I know, obviously the Bible didn't ever mention America or, it mentions kingdoms and country, and things like that, but it doesn't ever, like, there's obviously no verbiage in there about America. So I was just trying to peruse the Bible to find something that's similar that made me think of America. And so I came across John 15:13. So chapter 15, verse 13. And it says, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. So to lay down one's life for one's friends. And if that sentence right there does not sum up what America, listen, caveat, what America used to be and what it should be, where men and women and children, young guys, even the women, they would line up to lay down their life for this country because of the true patriotism and the true spirit of being an American and freedom. That's why I picked that verse, because of that line alone, because that was America in a fucking nutshell, right? You were brothers in arms. You cared about your fellow countrymen, your neighbor, your pastor, your teacher. You would lay down your life for those people. That's no longer the case in this country. And that's kind of why Dave and I got pissed off when we wanted to write a little 10-minute episode, 15-minute episode on this, because that's what this country used to be. And until we get back to that, dude, we're so fucked.
Yeah, we are. We're in a difficult time right now. The good news is I think we can still get back to that. I'm living in the heartland right now. Like there's good Americans everywhere you look.
There is.
But there's a lot of pressure coming from all these different places, and people are too lazy to take the time to educate themselves, truly understand what's happening, what's at play right now. They just want it to be spoon-fed to them. So most people just believe everything that they hear on the news. They don't research things for themselves, and they see what people post online, and most of the time it's bots or something else that are doing that. And we've gotten away from supporting each.
Let me say something for the people in the back. This is just exactly for the people in the back. I'm gonna yell it for the people in the back. What you see on social media is not real life. I repeat, what you see on social media is not real life for those assholes in the back that don't understand it.
Yes. Well said. But it's true. I mean, people are just too lazy and they just sit there on their scroll and they find stuff. Like, we need to get back to having conversations with people. We need to get back to inviting our neighbors over for a cookout. We need to get back to calling people on the phone, saying hello, having those difficult conversations instead of just living everything through a phone. Now, that's not what the show's about. The show's about, like you said, supporting American values and products and companies that support America. And that's what we're going to get to.
Yeah. And I put something in here in notes after your notes. So before I let you start about the American products and what it means to be made in America, I want to go back to the 60s, to the late 40s. In the 50s and the 60s. America used to be what everybody wanted to be. Like, dude, we were at what everyone wanted, right? Everybody wanted American made stuff because the pride and everything that came behind it, the ownership, the middle class, right? We were the first country to develop a middle class, right? That's the hallmark of democracy, is to have a middle class. Without a middle class, you cannot have democracy. Okay. Dude, everybody wanted American blue jeans. Everybody wanted American electronics. Everybody wanted American cars, right? Dude, we were it, dude. We were the ticket. We were the cat's ass. And then we turned away from being an economic superpower, right? When the dollar became the number one the world reserve currency, we decided to say, nah, this is a bad idea. Let's turn into fucking warmongers in a war machine and start shipping all our shit overseas and making it other places where it's cheaper. And it's been downhill since then. And it's a sad state of affairs. You know what I mean? So with that preface, like, that's where we need to get back to. That's what we need to do. We need to buy American products.
You know what's frustrating too is we're still the greatest country in the world, and it's not even close. But the people that are destroying it from the inside, and just basically the people that are fallen in line. I'm not talking about the people that are actually causing the devastation here and the unrest, but the people that, just like we said, the lazy people that are just, oh yeah, that we're going to get behind that. Those are the people that if they went to another country, they'd find out in a freaking hurry how terrible it is other places and want to come back to America. Brittany Griner is a great example of that. She was shitting all over America until she got caught up in a Russian prison. And now she's got a little bit different tune to tell. So I agree. Back in the 60s, what a time to be an American. And right now it is not that. But, you know, I thought it'd be nice to educate people a little bit on some of the differences, because you see, like, made in America, assembled in America, built with American parts. What does this all mean, right? So typically when you see American made products made in America, usually that's stuff that is constructed here, and also more than 60% of it is all from here. So you've assembled it here, and more than 60% of the parts and things that go into it are created in America. So that's got usually the Made for America stamp on it. The things that say assembled in America, well, you can get parts from anywhere. You can get parts from China. You can get parts from Korea, like all these different places, and you can just take them here and put them together. I worked for a place that did that. And yeah, made in America. Not really. Somebody's actually putting them together with their hands here or a machine, but most of the shit inside of it probably isn't American. So a little caveat there when you see that, right?
Assembled in America.
Assembled in America. Yeah. It'd take any person and just put them on an assembly line and put these things together with parts from another country. So is it really? No. So, but you might say, well, how does buying American products make a difference? Why would I do that, right? Other than just America, support America, right? Well, typically things are going to be of higher quality. Normally if things are constructed in the USA, there's a lot of restrictions or regulations on products. On growing stuff, farmers have a lot of restrictions and things that they need to put in place to be able to grow things. If you're buying organic, there's certain, you can't have certain chemicals and things like that. So typically things are just higher quality. I think a huge one is supporting jobs in America. Yeah. Right. You think about all these folks that had factory jobs who no longer have them when we start shipping these things overseas. Those might be your neighbors, might be your family. Those are important things. If you're getting jobs to Americans, good quality jobs for Americans, the economy is going to be better at the end of the day, because they're going to be able to go out and spend more money and do those types of things as well. So I think that to me is one of the most important. Here's one that people probably don't even think of. How about your customer service experience when you call and you actually talk to somebody who could be in the same time zone as you, or is at least speaking the same language as you as their first language? You can understand the conversation that you're having with them. It's so frustrating when you call, AT&T and you end up talking to somebody over, on the other side of the world, you can't understand anything that they're saying, and you're trying to solve a problem. It's nearly impossible. So, that's another one that I think is pretty important. There's a couple others too. I mean, how about instead of buying from a company who's getting all of their products made by either child labor or for minimal wages, bringing those jobs back here, supporting a company who's paying someone a fair wage and allowing them to work in a place that has good working conditions, that's sanitary, that's someplace that they could be proud of to work and go into. And you know that you're not supporting someone who's just trying to make as much money as possible at the expense of kids. I mean, adults, and just making them work in terrible conditions.
Living conditions.
Yeah.
Water.
Absolutely.
Water supply.
Yep.
Pollution. You name it. There's a million things. And the thing that I want to touch on, like you said, is the big thing that always comes back to me when it comes to American is the jobs, right? Dude, our job market has always been the strength of our country. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The blue collar workers, that went to work with a lunch pail every day, right? Like those were our grandfathers, right? Our grandfathers and great grandfathers came over on the boat, and they all had blue collar jobs, and they worked their asses off in a factory, or where we grew up in the Northwest corner, there was the brass mill and the Torrington Company and all these places that made parts, and they made the freaking parts, and it's ridiculous that we can't be that anymore. And that's because we've sold out the country to outsource for cheap labor, cheaper parts. And the shit that you get now that's made in China, the shit breaks after 5 minutes. I mean, it's absolutely pathetic. Nothing is made of any quality. So not only are you supporting American jobs, putting food on the table for Americans, right? You're giving them good wages, and you're supporting us, right? Like I said, we are brothers in arms as Americans. We always were. And we've just slowly but surely taken that away, and slowly but surely worked away from that. And it's just a sad state of affairs that, like, dude, and there's one thing that I feel like is the other thing I feel is like when an American company comes along, dude, nobody fucking supports them because nobody cares. Because it goes back to what you originally said, because no one talks on the phone anymore. No one goes face to face anymore. Everything is click, click, click. Everyone, you said, sits there and scrolls on their phone. I saw a good analogy. Someone called it doom scrolling, right? That's what they do. They're just sitting there doom scrolling, scroll. And you've lost everything, the foundational values that this country was built on: loving your neighbor, helping one another, supporting one another. And it's just fucking crazy to me that we've gotten this far. And like you said, no one cares. No one's awake to it. And yes, to make this get back to where we need to be, it is not easy. Because Dave and I, we had this conversation a couple weeks ago. Dude, it's more expensive to buy American. You want to know why? Because our government sold out to every foreign entity that they could to make the shit cheaper and took all those jobs away from us. So now getting our feet back on the ground and buying American, it costs more. You know what I mean? It absolutely does. We were talking about it the other day. Man, like we both want to support more American companies, but it is more expensive, which means you got to work harder. You got to freaking get it, get a better job. It's amazing how hard when you go so far away from something to try to get it back, what it entails.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is more expensive. At the end of the day, it costs more to do things here because it costs more to have better working conditions. It costs more to pay someone a living wage. Minimum wage here versus minimum wage in China is about 4 times the difference, right? Mm-hmm. So naturally, it's going to cost more. But like we said, all the benefits that go with it, supporting those companies, supporting those people, those jobs, those local economies, maybe we get to export more than we import. We don't have those deficits anymore like we always have. We're not as reliant on these other governments. What happens when our government rolls us into a war or pushes China to the point at which they're like, I'm not sending you guys anything anymore. Then what? We've sent all this production over there, and then we have nothing here. Yeah. And now that starts affecting us more and more and more. And how about we've got all these environmentalists that want to say, oh, green, go green. Do you know how much pollution is created when we have to ship everything to this country,
Mhm.
either by boat or by
Glo-
plane.
global pollution.
Yeah, global pollution. I mean, I suppose it'll be better when. I mean, I saw Biden yesterday was talking about putting a railroad across the Indian Ocean, so it might get better if we put a railroad across the entire world. Maybe some of the pollution will go down, but maybe that's a topic for another episode. But you think about if they're made here and you can just ship it within the borders of the United States,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to cut down on global pollution a huge amount. And
Listen, and there's ways they've gotten better with vehicles, right? Diesel trucks have DEF tanks now to help cut down on, you know what I mean, on emissions.
Mhm.
Fucking Elon Musk's fucking inventing every electric fucking thing you can imagine that's going to make it, better on the environment to ship things. And that's the other thing about the shipping part. When we are so reliant on China and other countries, what happened during COVID? Fucking supply chains grinded to a halt. Prices fucking skyrocketed, threw us into fucking mega inflation, hyperinflation, and
Yep.
everyone got fucked for it, right? But if you're building the shit
Yep.
in America, guess what? You don't got to worry about supply chain issues because it's already in the
Yeah.
country. It's already here. You don't have to worry
Yep.
about getting it from somewhere else.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we're still dealing with the effects of that. I mean, how many times do you still hear whether you go into a store or something, supply chain issues?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have that for the rest of our lives. We're gonna
Yeah.
hear that excuse, supply chain issues, until we fix these things at home
Mhm.
and start bringing those companies back. You know, there's so much backlash with with some of the stores that are out there right now, with some of their things that they're doing in their stores and what they're pushing out to people. Well, here's an idea. How about you stop supporting those stores?
Mhm.
Stop supporting those stores and support a local person.
Mhm.
So, we like to give practical things you can do on this show,
Mhm.
right? To help people take the information we're giving them and put it into practice.
Mhm.
So, yes, it costs more to buy American everything, right? So start in one area of your life. Start with one thing. Maybe
Mhm.
instead of buying clothes that were made in Korea or Vietnam or wherever they may be made, find a company that makes clothes right here in the US of A
Yep.
and buy clothes from there.
Mhm.
Start with that.
Mhm.
Maybe it's
So,
once a month. Maybe
yeah.
it's more than that. But maybe that's all you can do right now is once a month. If you're buying something new, you find a local place. There's a great website out there. They also got an app called Public Square. I started using this about a month ago, and I've used it quite a bit. The nice thing is they vet all these companies that are American run. They support American jobs. Everything's built here in the United States, and they put all that information out there. And they allow you to search for online retailers. You can put in your zip code, and you can find local places right near you that you can go and shop or eat. All different things, restaurants, grocery stores, clothing, whatever it may be, and you can find those things. So that's a great place to start. It's free to become a member there, Public Square. And I think that's a great place for people to just kind of dip their foot into this and start going down that trail of supporting American jobs, because ultimately it's going to come back to make our economy better. It's going to put more money in your pocket eventually because the economy is going to be booming. If the economy is booming, wages can typically go up.
Yeah.
And
No.
I think that would be a great place to begin.
You mentioned it with food. I'll give you another one. Instead of going to the grocery store to get all your produce that's been flown in from South America, you name it, go to your local farmers market.
Right.
We go every Saturday. We go every single Saturday.
Yep.
We buy our milk local, and we buy produce local. I know that the produce is coming from the farm. That's, and those people are out there in those fields milking those cows, putting the blood, sweat, and tears in there to be a freaking farmer, which is the hardest job in the world. To pack up their trucks to get to that farmer's market on Saturday so they can make a living wage, right? So go support local. You know where it's coming from. You can talk to the owner, right? It's the same thing as buying American clothes. And there's a lot of companies. Like you said, Public Square is an amazing app. But there's two companies that I want to, give a shout out to. And you're not going to be surprised. The first one I want to say is First Form. Andy Frisella, if you don't listen to him on Real AF, the dude is creating so many jobs in a terrible city because he's a local kid from St. Louis who has so much pride in where he's from. the jobs that he's creating, the difference that his employees are changing people's lives. It's a supplement company, but they also do clothes, and they're on their way. They're on the up and up when it comes to doing clothes. And he's building factories. And the other one you just purchased from them is Jocko's company, is Origin. That's Jocko and Pete. What's his name? I can't think of Pete's last name. Why can't I think of it? And then Cam Haynes is part of it, and they do blue jeans. They started with jeans. They have the looms fired up. Like they started a factory like in Maine, and the loom makes the fucking jeans, dude. Like so.
Yep.
Yeah, you can support American. You just gotta put a little more effort into it instead of just going on fucking Amazon and clicking the first thing that you see. And here's another practical math, and you'll like this. Okay, go buy something that's made in America that you know is great quality from a local person, and you're gonna spend, let's just say you're gonna spend $60 on it, right? $60. Oh, but I can get that same product on Amazon for 20. Well, guess what? In 6 months, you're gonna have to buy 3 of them, and now you just spent the $60 that you were gonna spend if you had just bought the American made version from the local guy in the first place.
Yep. Agreed.
So, but yeah, so that's it. Listen, start small. Dave said it, start small, dude. Just look it up. Go to Public Square, go to your local freaking farmer's market, go to a local mom and pop shop, ask questions, go out and see people in the world. Cause that's what the country needs more of anyways, more in face-to-face, in-person communication instead of all this AI shit that's just taking over the world and going to put us all out of work soon enough if they have their way. You know what I mean? So, support American, buy American, do the best that you can. And even if you can't afford an American product, dude, I'm sure there's something on their website you could find that's $5, $8, $10. And at least it's a start. It's a start. It keeps people working. It keeps jobs in this country that we love so much. And, we got to do it better. We got to do better as a whole. We have to do so much better. And we can do so much better. That's the thing. Dude, we can't get much fucking worse than it is now, right? You can only really go up from here,
Yeah, we're at the bottom right now.
Yeah,
we're at the bottom. So take a step today and make a difference and change some of the ways you're doing things.
Yeah, and keeping with American. All right, we had a book recommendation, and I also have a podcast recommendation. Podcast recommendation. 2 weeks ago, Robert Kennedy Jr. RFK was on Rogan. It's 3 hours long. If you listen to podcasts, if you listen to our show, it's a little bit longer. It's like listening to our show 6 times in a row, usually 5 times, depending on how long our episodes are. But it's worth it. It's a 3-hour show. It's worth listening to it. Just listen. And that's the thing. Everyone has preconceived notions about everybody, Republican, Democrat, independent, freaking this, that, and the other thing. Listen to it. And it's so, that family, the Kennedy family in general, as a lot of people know, Dave knows, JFK is one of my all-time favorite presidents. You take away Washington and Jefferson, right, the founding fathers, like Jack's right there, JFK's right there, and to know that Robert Kennedy is running for president, it gets me interested, even more interested because it's an outside-the-box thinker. It's someone who has he's educated, he's smart, he cares about Americans. That's the most important thing. Take all your biases and your preconceived notions and shove them up your ass and just listen to him. He cares about Americans. And for the fact that Rogan gave him the platform when nobody will debate him, no one wants to listen to him, they all call him a loony bin, it's amazing. So listen to that podcast. And then the book recommendation today, Keeping It Pro-American, because I think he is the most American president, him and Trump, besides the founding fathers. This one is Jack Kennedy, Elusive Hero. There's a million books on JFK. This is one that's in my library. I have 5 or 6 on him. The dude cared about America, right? And that's the theme of this show, right? American values, American products, support our great nation. This dude, through and through, hated war, loved the people, loved the country. Go, if it's not this book, dude, there's 1,000 autobiographies on him. What an interesting life he lived. And it was so unfortunate that it was cut short, by being assassinated. But Jack Kennedy, Elusive Hero. Chris Matthews, not my favorite person in the world, wrote the book, but it's very well written. And you're going to learn a lot. But listen, do the research. And if there's anything you take away from the show, go back and look at the 50s and 60s and look at how America we were pre-Vietnam and then where it just started to go away from there. You know what I mean? It's that's what America was. And in what it should be now.
That sounds like a great book. I'll have to probably check that one out.
So, episode 67's in the book, Dave. You got anything else besides go share the show?
Go share the show and go buy something made in America. That's the point of today. Go support your neighbors. Go support your local community, your local economy. Go out there, continue to live the full force life, and we're going to see you next week.